I'm riding a little train that is rolling down the tracks to the junction. Forget about your cares, it is time to relax at the junction. Lots of curves, you bet, and even more when you get to the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
There's a little hotel called the Shady Rest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
It is run by Kate. Come and be her guest at the junction.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction.
Are you still working? It's after midnight.
Oh, it can't be helped, honey. I've got to turn this bid in first thing in the morning.
Maybe I can help.
Well, it's pretty complicated. Honey, the whole knee is crushed.
All right.
No, you see, this is a bid to spray some government acreage, and it's composed of irregular plots of ground. Now, to calculate the total area, I have to use trigonometry, analytical geometry, shoot the angles, compute the functions of the angles, tangents, cotangents, sines, cosines, then estimate the amount of insecticide it'll take to cover that area, how much fuel for the plane, allow for variables such as wind, then boil the whole thing down to a concrete bid low enough to land the job and make enough money to send Herschel there to Harvard.
Elizabeth may not go to Harvard.
You mean we're going to have a 50-pound girl?
One of these days.
Seriously, Great Pumpkin. This is a pretty complex problem involving the relationship of volume to space.
Well, if the truth were known, I'm probably a genius at solving problems of volume and space.
You're a genius, all right.
Come on, Uncle Joe. Jogging is all the rage now.
Not with me, it ain't.
Oh, Uncle Joe, you promised at dinner last night you'd take up running.
Well, that wasn't fair. You threatened to hold out my dessert.
Oh, come on, Uncle Joe, it's good for you. Besides, you wanted to take off a little weight, didn't you?
Yeah. Now, that's another thing. Why undo all the work of a lifetime?
Uncle Joe, please.
Oh, I don't know. How far are we going?
Go down to Zippel's, once around the hog pond and back.
Zippel's Hog Pond? Why, that's a mile.
So?
Well, pack a lunch.
Oh, now go on, Uncle Joe, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. I got an idea. Why don't you two go?
Well, we can't both be gone. With Mom away, somebody has to stay and take care of the hotel.
Well, I can do that.
Well, all right, then. Now, let's see. There's mattresses to be turned, floors to be waxed, windows to be cleaned.
Like I said, a little jogging never hurt anybody. Come on, Bobby. Go.
What are you stopping for, Uncle Joe?
Because this ain't right. Whatever happened to ladies first?
We tried that, remember? Only when I went first, you didn't follow.
Say, there's my partner, Steve. Sorry, Bobby Joe, but I'll have to drop out. He wants to have a conference with me. Steve, about
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Bobby Joe.
How's Betty Joe?
Fine. What are you doing running around in your pajamas?
These ain't pajamas.
Do you want to have a conference with Uncle Joe?
Not especially.
That's all he knows. Young fella, senior partner of this combine, I'm calling a board meeting right here and now. What's on the docket?
Nothing.
Oh, boy, a lot of help you are.
Well, I gotta take off.
Oh, let me help.
Oh, thank you.
Where are you bound?
Oh, I gotta get this up to the state capitol by noon.
State Capitol? What is it?
Oh, it's a bid to spray that government property north of Pixley.
You mean you went into this without consulting me?
Yeah, well, it came up pretty fast, Joe.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with the government, you need all the know-how you can get. There's all kinds of red tape you gotta cut through and angles you can work. Who you submitting a bid to?
The Department of Agriculture.
Oh, boy. The Department of Agriculture. Why in the world would you want to deal with them?
Well, they're the ones who called for the bids.
Oh. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. I hate to see things go out of here without my okay. Well, I gotta get on with my jogging. Come on, Bobby Joe. Department of Agriculture. Why didn't I think of that?
By the moonlight, you can hear those voices singing. In the evening, by the moonlight, you can hear those banjos ringing. How the old folks would enjoy it. They would sit all night and listen as we sang in the evening by the moonlight.
Pretty good, huh?
That was fun.
Yeah, well, it just ain't the same without Kate. Oh, no offense, Billy Joe, but she used to play good and loud to cover up our mistakes.
Well, she'll be back soon. Hey, any sign of Steve?
No.
That poor guy, he's been hanging on my phone ever since he got back from the state capitol. Of course, that's a break for me. He watches my store at the same time.
Golly, I hope his bid is accepted.
He ain't ever going to hear from that bid. I tried to tell him that this morning.
What do you mean, Uncle Joe?
Well, he went about it wrong. You don't get action from the government by merely submitting a bid. You got to lay the groundwork, do some lobbying, make the right contacts. Now, if he'd have come to me, I'd put him in touch with people in high places.
Who do you know in high places?
I got a lodge brother that's assistant forest ranger, Fred Wilson. He'll do anything for me.
Yeah, and he's in high places, too. He's got the station on top Mount Grundy, 6,000 feet up.
No, you're missing the point. Fred, being a government employee, knows the right people. He's the one that introduced me to Dirksen.
Uncle Joe, you met Dirksen?
I was standing as close as I am to you. I shook his hand and said, "How are you, Clem?"
You mean Everett?
No, Clem. He's secretary of the Pixley Grange.
Here comes Steve. Oh, he looks miserable. I guess he didn't get the contract.
Of course he didn't. I'll put him wise. I'll show him where he went wrong.
Now, Uncle Joe, look, Steve was up all last night working on that bid. Betty Jo said he hasn't eaten or slept for 24 hours. I don't think we ought to do anything to aggravate him.
Who's going to aggravate him?
You are. Joe, so help me, if you say one word to that boy, I'm gonna hide your teeth.
What are you talking about? I've got my own teeth.
Well, you won't have if you say anything.
Well, you forget about it, darling. You tried your best. Now sit down and I'll get you a nice plate of dinner. Chicken and dumplings.
You sit down, too, Betty Jo. I'll get the food. And Uncle Joe can come along and help me.
Oh, but I've been jogging all day. I can't make it to the kitchen. I'm busy.
Oh, yes, you can.
Oh, Billy Joe, let me help.
Thanks, Bobby Joe. I'm about to drop in my tracks.
You mention that bid to Steve, and I guarantee you'll drop in your tracks.
I swear on oath I won't bring it up unless he brings it up first.
Well, I gotta get going. So long, Betty Jo. So long, Steve. Oh, I forgot to say goodbye to the girls.
Oh, boy, that feels good. It's just what I needed. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. While I was at Drucker's, he got in those new baby bottles and bibs.
Good.
What was that last thing you mentioned, Steve?
Bibs?
Oh, now that you bring it up, how are you doing with yours?
My bib?
Oh, bib. I thought you said bib. Well, now that you mentioned it, what do you hear from the government?
Oh, nothing.
Son, I hate guys that say I told you so. But I told you
Told me what?
not to submit that bid cold turkey. You got to pull strings, grease palms. Your big mistake was in not consulting your senior partner.
Uncle Joe, please.
Senior partner?
That's right. It is Carson Elliott, you know. I supply the management know-how. You do all the easy stuff like flying the plane.
Joe, Steve's very tired.
Of course he's tired, running around all day like a dodo bird. Next time you've got something to deal with the Carson Elliott dynasty, consult me first.
How would you like to dissolve the Carson Elliott dynasty?
Steve?
Are you kidding, Flyboy? You can't make it without me.
Uncle Joe.
I'll risk it.
Fellas.
Let's go, Betty Jo.
Well, honey, you haven't had your dinner yet.
Well, I've lost my appetite.
But we made chicken and dumplings. They're delicious. They're steamed.
So am I.
That boy's out of his mind. He can't operate without me. I own the windsock.